Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming at you as an American, as a patriot, and it doesn't matter, what color my skin is. Just ignore that. I have a lot of things I want to get off my mind, and we're specifically going to talk about what happened to the young black man, George Floyd. Okay. Now, after I saw the video, I was just as disgusted as almost everyone in America for what I saw. And it did not look good from the very beginning. I could not believe that there was a black man that had a white man on his neck. Now, that doesn't look good, first of all. That's horrible. And I didn't even know there was other officers holding the legs down until later on. One officer was just trying to keep everybody away from getting close to the officer that had his knee on the neck. So I was literally, completely disgusted, and I could not believe what I saw. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, first of all, I don't understand why in the world did it take so long to bring charges against first the officer that had the knee on the man's neck. What in the world took so long? Why? Listen, that was so obvious. I mean, it should have been taken care of immediately. Now, I do understand the officers were fired. That is not enough. That is not enough, and they had to be charged. And finally, the main officer was charged. And I just found out that that main officer the charges were increased to second-degree murder, which is, I think that is more appropriate than third-degree murder, okay? And especially manslaughter, forget that. But the thing is if there's some reason in the legal process they can't do the second degree, they can bring it down. But the good thing is they kept all the charges. They have second-degree murder now, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Now, that's what I'm talking about, because this person should go to prison and remain in there, okay? And maybe something even further. I'm not a judge. I'm not an attorney. I'm an American citizen that was disgusted about what I saw, and I'm going to be, I got some great information some ideas that I want to convey with you, but the bottom line is this needs to stop. And I'm going to tell you some of my ideas about how we can make it stop, and maybe we can get some of these things in action. And I don't know everything, but I just been thinking about this because it's got to stop. And there's other problems as well, not just maybe racist issues, but there's power issues. So it's time for, oh, by the way, the other officers, I do know that they were charged with aiding and abetting murder. Great. They need to be charged with something, not just fired and go home to their families. They need to be charged. Whether they're convicted, we will see, but I know justice will be served because I believe that. I believe it's going to happen. So in regards to the officers, okay, I would suggest that it's time to look into yourselves. Look into yourselves and look into the mirror and ask yourself if you are dealing if you ever end up dealing with a black man, can you deal with them as a human being, or are you biased, or are you racist? Okay, because you cannot let that interfere with common sense thinking. Your job is very important, and we need police officers. Your job is to protect and serve, right? But your job is not to, look at someone differently and treat them differently. Bottom line is if they're a criminal, they're a criminal, and we totally get that. That's what you're supposed to do. But if there's a racist thing going on with you, I suggest you get help. And once you're cleared by all the doctors involved, and more importantly, cleared by your look into the mirror, because that's really where the check is, okay? It's good to get cleared by the doctor and all the superiors and everyone else, but it's really about that look into the mirror for yourself. Treat people as human beings, and if they're criminals, criminals, not a black criminal, okay? So that is one thing that I just wanted to make very, very clear. Another issue here is that officers who feel that they're above other people and on some kind of a power trip. Um, Even me, I've dealt with officers, and I mean, you guys think you're just the God Almighty King and everybody's below you. And that's not the way it should be. If you're being disrespected, then I understand, you need to have to take advantage. But when in my involvement, I'm respectful as all respect could be, okay, with your authority as an officer, because I think you have a tough job. But many times the officers act like, everybody else is a piece of crap and you're just on top of the world. And that isn't the way it should be. So if you have a power trip, you need to look at yourself again and keep yourself in check. Do that mirror check and ask yourself every day, am I having racial issues? Can I treat people with respect? Do I have a power trip? Am I getting a little overboard? I was talking to my daughter and I said, look, even me, if I was a police officer, I know I served in the military, but I'd have to think every day if I was a police officer, because you do have certain powers that are bestowed upon you to be able to do what you do. So you have to always keep that in check, because it needs to be kept in check. You don't need to be overpowering people and treating people like crap. It's all about respect. So that's a big concern. So we've got racist issues, power trip issues, and everything in between. So it all starts with you looking in that mirror every day and saying to yourself, can I be fair and treat people right? And even if they happen to be black or another race, right? That's important. That's your self-check. It makes total sense to me. I know I would have to do that. I would have to keep myself in check. Then the other way to keep others around you in check, I'm talking about friends and family, and more importantly, because we are all relying on you to protect and serve, right? Your fellow officers need to keep you in check. You owe it to the people of all of the communities across this beautiful country to keep the officers around you in check, so you do not abuse the badge of honor that you wear. We know you guys are willing to cover for one another when it comes to certain things, but now it's time to bring to the light what you see around you is happening, and not let it remain in the dark. Let it come into the light. So if you see things that are happening, you need to bring it to the light. Let the person know, hey, you really treated that person a little bit wrong. Let's fix that. And police yourselves, right? That's really where it is. It's not, the federal government and the mayors all have to come down upon you. No, police yourselves. Most of us should be taught, and you probably should be taught from the time you're born, hopefully, to respect one another, treat others the way you would like to be treated, do unto others the way you would have you would have done unto you, right? If you don't have that, go to church, read the Bible, get God into your life, and I would pray that you do that, because you need guidance and help with something more powerful than yourself. Okay, it might start with maybe yourself, and then you get a doctor involved, but there's a lot involved with that. Okay, it's deep. So honestly, we need law enforcement, because without the police, we would be having a lot of really bad things happening. It makes me think of the movie The Purge, and that's not a good thought at all. I do not want to have lawless people just run around doing whatever they want. And I heard recently there's calls about getting rid of the police. Please, guys, we cannot police ourselves. We're human beings just like the police, and you'll be on your own darn power trips. You'll be on your own racial issues, okay? So we don't need that. We need police. They're out there doing a very tough job, and the police need to police themselves. So that's very, very important. And I think of everyone that pays attention to what's going on around them, we can correct the issues before everything gets off course. It's the same kind of thing that we're asking people to do to, when all these people that go out and do these mass shootings, right? Did anybody see anything? Did you notice anything? You know, a lot of times they notice it, but they didn't report it. If you notice it, bring it to their attention. If it doesn't get solved, you bring it to the supervisor's attention. And you keep going up the chain. But you police yourselves, guys, because that's what has to be done. Okay? You police yourself internally, and you police those around you to keep them in check, and everything's going to be great. Okay? And no, we don't want you to let criminals go crazy. If they're criminal, they're criminal. Black, white, whatever. But racist people, get yourself in check, quit, whatever you need to do. Come back to work when you're cleared, and you can be a good, law-abiding officer that does the right thing. Now, please, I now call everyone to change the course and get to work. These protests have been going on now. I guess if you want to keep protesting, I need these riots to stop. I think they're being funded, so that's another situation in another video. The riots have to stop. The vandalism and just the theft and looting has to stop. We need to get back to work, and we need to correct the issues. Okay? If Black Lives Matter wants to make a difference, that organization that wants to make a difference, that really hasn't done a darn thing to make a difference, start these education courses about, you know, people being educated. It could go the other way around too. Whoever might have a racial bone in their body, get rid of it. Okay? And if you can't get rid of it, you need to quit and let somebody else step in that can do the job on a more even scale and not be, you know, having these issues. And the power trips, keep them in check. Okay? You work for us. We pay your salaries, and you need to respect us just like we want to respect you. It's an even street. Okay? With that said, I want to say thanks a lot, everyone, for looking at this video, and I hope everyone will take the necessary action that they need to take to correct this problem so it never happens again. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you on my other videos because I got some more coming. Thanks.